Good evening, everyone. You're listening to Red Pill 78. I am the Corruption Detector, and this is your Red Pill News. It's a beautiful Friday night in the United States of America. We've got several people in the chat already. We're going to give it a few minutes before we get started. But tonight I've got several special guests. We've got my friend Wes back from Death Valley Press. He's going to be displaying a brand new video that he's made just for us. It's his Dan Q. Baker, the puppet, the comedian puppet. We've also got Erin Moffat, Lady Liberty 1313. She has made some incredible videos. She's got some neat stuff to talk about. And we're also going to be talking with Space Shot 76 and Captain Roy D about the new Q book, An Invitation to the Great Awakening. Hello, everyone. Oh my gosh, we got somebody from Antarctica in the chat. We've got Virginia, we've got Illinois, we've got Kentucky, Missouri, Texas, Indiana. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. More Texas, Iowa, Oregon. Excellent. Washington State, Missouri. Gosh, Dublin, Ohio. Southeast Oregon. Canadian Patriots, more Patriots from Canada, Michigan. Vermont, Colorado, Ohio, Detroit, Arkansas, Nashville, Massachusetts, the UK. Good evening, everyone. Man, everybody's here from everywhere. Patriots from across the globe. All right, so I think we're going to get started. I'm going to bring in my first guest, Erin Moffat. Let's see here. Erin, if you'd like to turn off the mute. Are you there?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. How are you doing tonight? Okay. How are you tonight?
I'm excellent.
Excellent. So Erin has a couple of interesting things to talk about tonight. But first of all, the original reason that I wanted to bring her here is because she made this really cool video called Who is Q? And it's a very interesting theory. And I'm going to make this video full screen, and we're going to watch this trailer real quick. Looks pretty cool, guys. Very, very cool. So, Erin, this video has everything. You start off with the presidency of Bill Clinton and this plan to hijack the internet after its inception and eventually hijack people's bodies. And it leads into Donald Trump and his friends essentially saving us. Why don't you start off and tell us what you want us to know about the video so that people can check it out after the show?
Okay, and just let me know if my voice starts to sound robotic and I'll turn the video off, but my internet connection should stay good.
Okay.
But when I was creating the video, it was because I was looking at all the different types of people that were trying to understand Q drops, and there were so many different ways to read and understand the Q drops and yet still come to somewhat of the same conclusion. And I began to think, well, how many people would it take to have all these different ways of mapping out what these drops could mean and looking at the deltas and looking at gematria type of stuff, or even knowing the bloodline history of the Illuminati, and just so many different ways to come to a conclusion with Q drops, that I also at the same time started looking at what's called quantum AI. And I remembered a TV show called Person of Interest, and I began to make connections in my own mind, whether they're right or wrong, that it seems to me that you would have this very, very fast quantum AI that is faster than binary. So it's very, very fast thinking. You can get lots and lots of outcomes in just moments. And what could do that but something very fast like a computer? Of course, I believe people are behind it. Of course, I believe that it's just not constantly running AI to drop other drops. But what I do believe is that with all the intricate ways of finding out what the drops mean and understanding them, and all of us still somehow coming to very similar conclusions, to me, it's trying to reach everybody. And I felt like that would be too many, not enough human beings could do that without bias and error.
Awesome. Well, I think it's a real sound theory. The idea that we've got this AI that's working as Q is completely plausible, because you've got things happening, at these intervals, between the president and then, these posts going out. They go out, seemingly automatically sometimes. But the thing that really scared me about the video was this information about the possibility of our own bodies being connected to the internet, and they called it wetware.
Yes, and I have a new video coming out that is going to talk exactly about that, and that's transhumanism, which I don't believe is anything new. And there's a book, if you go back, if you're a Dean Koontz fan, he wrote a book called Midnight, and it's very similar to some of the stuff I've been uncovering as to what AI could be and what it could be doing, and do we already have it running through our bodies, and is somebody commanding it?
So, what's your opinion about that?
I believe it's very likely that some of us do. I don't know that all of us do. And I do believe that there's ways to find out, but you can't just go to your doctor. I'm a licensed PA, and I've been licensed since 2007, and I would have laughed this stuff off. I would have laughed it off, and I'd have sent you to site. So it's something that you have to do a lot of research on your own. You can't just take my word for it, because I'm not going to give all the information anyway. I'll give my sources, and I'll tell you why I came up with that idea, but I might be wrong, so I don't know. But it's my gut feeling and some of the things that I've been looking at and the dots that are connecting for me, that this is something they've been working on a long time. And I do believe that we're breathing them in, and whether they survive in us or not is another story.
So, what kind of machines do you think we have inside of us?
Nanobot technology.
What do you think they're doing?
I think it's well, I'm going to have a whole video about this tonight, but okay. I will tell you this, that if you look at what it was intended to do, nanobot technology is intended to be a hive mind, collective thinking, machine that is so small that it could go inside your body or an insect's body or an animal's body and be able to collectively do either attack a cell or a cancer or whatever it is that's being commanded to do. But it would come together in some places, connect and it would be commanded from an outside source to do what it's supposed to do. And hopefully they are smart and they learn. I don't think they surpassed us, but hopefully they do what they're supposed to do. And I don't know how you get rid of them at that point from the standpoint of what the medical industry wants to do with them. But I do know that there's ways that you would have to do research on and find an environmental medical person that would be able to help with that if it was a serious issue that you knew you had.
So this is the kind of thing that if you had the keys to the internet and these things were, a collective consciousness that were connected to the internet, you could control them remotely to go into somebody's body and do whatever you wanted them to do, whether it's positive or negative.
Essentially, I'm not sure how far you could control them. I'm not sure you could just flip a switch and I would do your bidding.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. We know that but this is mind control beyond MK Ultra. We knew that if they were going to talk about MK Ultra and put that out, that something better came along. So it could be that extensive, or it could just be they can affect our mood, or perhaps there's nothing like that in our bodies at all, right? If it is,
but
I believe yes, they can control it remotely.
It seems like the perfect form of MK Ultra. They've been working all of these years, to condition people and to, make them some type of, mind slave to get them to do whatever they want them to do. But to just be able to flip a switch and have somebody have no memory of it, or just to be, kind of like an unconscious observer and watching it. Now, somebody in the chat said something about the wine test. We were talking about the wine test in the prep for this show. Can you tell us about that?
So I think it's interesting. I think it's weird. I don't get grossed out by that stuff because I've, drained abscesses and things. So a lot of people think it's gross. I don't think it's going to diagnose a mortellins or any kind of nanobot in your body, because there's a lot of microorganisms that we live symbiotically with that could do that same thing. And it's possible even a bacteria like gingivitis could bring things together like that. It is very odd looking, but if we're not all scientists, we're not all chemists, we're not all medical professionals, and not saying they all have the right answers either. However, there's a lot of chemical reactions we have no understanding of.
Oh, totally. Oh, God. It's a scary thought. It's a scary thought. All right. Well, let us also talk about your other venture. You are a precious metals expert or consultant, or you have a business. Tell me about it.
Well, I think it takes most things to be about 7 years to be an expert. So I'm still in training because I'm only 2 years into this. But yes, I have learned a lot. And I started doing this 2 years ago with a friend because I'm a single mom. I'm a widow. I have 2 children. And I wanted to be home with them somehow. And I tried some network marketing things that were, you got to learn how to sell things and do stuff. But I was working so many hours, especially as a PA, 14-hour shifts sometimes. And I needed to be home. This was the one way I was able to do this and afford to be home while collecting real money and not just a product that will go and expire in my closet.
So do you help other people to be able to stack up these precious metals and determine what's good to buy, or do you broker for people who sell it?
Yeah, so I joined a company that also is network mover, and they offer training and themselves because it's still small, and I've gotten to know the owners, and they have personally offered training, but they also have some videos that they put together. And then I'm a digger, and I did a lot of research on my own, learning about the Fed and learning about the history of money and a lot of Mike Maloney videos. I spent a lot of time watching all that stuff over and over until I could not only understand what he was saying, but repeat what he was saying and try to make other people understand it, because I never even knew. It blew my mind to learn what real money was.
That's pretty sweet. And you have a contest that we're going to be running after the show. So tell us about that.
So all you have to do, if you are already subscribed, you don't have to subscribe again, but you go and subscribe to my channel, and hopefully you like the content enough that that's a good thing for you. But go and subscribe, watch the video, like it, and if you leave a comment that corresponds to the video's content, even if it's just in the first 5 minutes, you get entered. And I put a number to everybody, and then I can put it into a random, I can even record that live, do it into a random picker online, and then it will pick one of those numbers, and that will be the winner.
Okay, what are they going to win?
They're going to win a 1 troy ounce round with President Trump.
Sweet.
And I believe you can see that, the 45th president.
You know what? Your video is actually is stuck. It's just showing a still image.
Well, unfortunately, it comes and goes, but
okay.
maybe it'll come back up. I'll give it a second.
Yeah, but no, I think it's going to remain stuck. It's no big deal. But because we actually have a link to Erin's YouTube channel, and that is in the comment section, or excuse me, the description of the video. And then there's also a link to your website, 7kmetals.com, and then also your Patreon. We're going to throw that Patreon down there too, so people can find that. Let me see. So
the round has the White House on one side, and then it's got President Trump on the other, and it's like doing a swearing in, and it says 45th President Donald J. Trump at the top.
Awesome. So all you guys got to do is go to Erin's YouTube, subscribe, watch the new video that she's going to be putting out. The video that she's already got out is the Who is Q, and how I think Trump took back control from HRC. It's a great video. After the show, I suggest you guys watch it. It's just 21 minutes. And then what's the title of the new video?
Okay, so the new one, I totally just had a brain fart, but the AI that fell from the sky is what I called it.
All right, cool. So is that like a part 2 to the Who is Q, or is this is just going in its own direction based on?
No, it is, and you were exactly right, because you said that you were talking about the wetware, and that ties in with who has the keys and the control. Who is, if we do have these things, who is controlling them now? Is it the black hats or the white hats? Is it both? You know, it's going to be going on with that.
Right on. Well, I think this is going to be really cool. All right, so again, everyone, all you got to do is go to Erin's channel, watch her new video. Did you say they have to like it or share it?
Like it, and then comment something that corresponds to the content in the video, you know, questions or just whatever. You can, if people come on there and they do things like first or whatever, that's not going to work. So that the person's not going to get put into the random drawing.
Okay, right on. Awesome. All right, well, we have no video, Erin, so I think we're going to call it right there, and we're going to bring my next guest in. I want to thank you very much for joining us tonight. Don't forget, Erin Moffat on YouTube. You can see the link to her YouTube channel in the description box below. You can also check her Patreon. You can check her website, 7K Metals. Do you have any other social media handles or links that you want to suggest people visit?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter if you want. I don't know about Twitter and how it works a lot, but it's at Lady Liberty 1313. Instagram, I'm very active on, and I'm at 7K _ Sister Golden Hair. And I want to tell you thank you so much, because you have been a good friend to me. You've helped me out a lot with this, and you've just been somebody to validate what I'm doing, and that means more than you know.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate that. You know, your video is really good, and I am proud to share it. And I want to thank you for coming on the show, because I think you've got a lot of good stuff to say too. So Erin's a great researcher, guys. She's always been very active in the comment section on my videos. She was one of the first people who was there, like every single video. So definitely, I'm pleased to help you out.
Thank you again. Good night.
You're so welcome. Good night, Erin. Okay, guys, don't forget, you can go to Erin's YouTube. You can go to her Instagram. You can go to her Twitter. I am just working on bringing my next guest in right now. Let's see. Let's go ahead and take a look at the comment section. I've got some people I need to thank. How's everybody doing tonight? You guys having a good day? Chi-Chi had a really difficult night, you guys. He had 10 teeth removed yesterday. That's my Chihuahua, Cisco, the Chihuahua, Chi-Chi. Yeah, it was more than we anticipated, but he came through it okay. He was a little bit groggy. He had trouble standing. He had trouble going to the bathroom on his own. That was scary, but we got it all taken care of. So everything ended up being okay. Hey, I love you guys. Good job, LJ. I'm glad you made it, buddy. Okay, so I need to thank all these people that dropped some love while we were talking to Erin. Larry Thompson. Larry Thompson says if everyone donates $1.99, RP gives us his car. That was prior to the show even starting. Knows Little 2 says, hey, love you all. We love you too. Emily Finnegan says, love your content and especially love when you crack yourself. Life is not worth living if you're not laughing. Let's see. Sharon Barraza just gave a very generous donation. Thank you very much, Sharon. Appreciate that. If you've got a question or anything that you want to ask, go ahead and drop that in the chat. Tin Roof Truth says, keep up the good work. Moving Pictures says, hey, brother, keep up the amazing work and love from Omaha. Moving Pictures then said, RP, I think you guys really should cover the Jesuits and how much control they have over the whole cabal and deep state and world order. I agree. I would definitely like to cover the Jesuits at some point. It's something that I've actually tried to sit down and do, but it's just, there's been so much news lately, it's been difficult to do any deep projects like that. And then Lisa Lady says, thanks for the prayers for my daughter. She was now off the ventilator. Oh, thank God. Haven't found the people who hit her. A car, but no spinal dam, is walking and eating, still in a lot of pain due to the broken ribs and the chest tube. Oh, my God, you guys. I want you to continue to pray for Lisa Lady's daughter. Some jerk did a hit and run. Can you believe that? What kind of a person is going to hit someone with their car and then just drive away? Like, obviously, no one with any character or anything like that. All right, so we are still waiting on my friend Wes from doesn't really, I can't remember the name of his thing. Dan Q. Baker, that's the only thing that comes to mind. Where is Wes? Wes was the guy that had the comic book, the Truther comic book. So while we're waiting for Wes, we're going to go ahead and, we're going to talk about the book a little bit later on, guys. But I will plug it right now. Myself and Space Shot, we were both asked to collaborate on a chapter for a book called QAnon, An Invitation to the Great Awakening. As you can see, it is on the hot new releases page on Amazon. Let's see what number it's at, if it's still there. Yep, still right there. Apparently, Andrew McCabe's book is number 1, so I would love it if we could kick Andrew McCabe's book off that list. Let's see here. There we go. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to pull up a couple of tweets that I wanted to talk about. Donald J. Trump, our president, our commander-in-chief, had some interesting things to say today. He said, oh, I see now that the 2-year Russian collusion case has fallen apart. There was no collusion except by crooked Hillary and the Democrats. I love, he says, by, B-Y-E, by crooked Hillary and the Democrats. They say, gee, I have an idea. Let's look at Trump's finances and every deal he's ever done. Let's follow discredited Michael Cohen. Diana Davenport was so excited to see the news about Netanyahu. That was my last doubt about the veracity of the changes. I agree. Yep, Netanyahu is facing charges in Israel. Things are certainly popping off. Thank you very much for that super chat, Diana. Good to see you. So he says, let's follow discredited Michael Cohen and the fraudulent and dishonest statements he made on Wednesday. No way. It's time to stop this corrupt and illegally brought witch hunt. Time to start looking at the other side where real crimes were committed. Republicans have been abused long enough. Must end now. Look at that. It's time to start looking at the other side where real crimes were committed. March Madness, you guys. Susan Sewer, thank you very much for that super chat. Let's see. Are there any other questions we've had in here? We got, where we bark one, we bark all. Muffin. Hashtag MAGA Muffin. That's right, Dana. Good to see you, buddy. Cisco Lady Liberty, good to see you. Let's see. Any other specific shout-outs here? Connor, I missed your super chat. Thank you, bud. Let's see. Oh, love to Chi-Chi from Lady Q. Thank you so much. Chi-Chi is sleeping in my bed soundly right now. Man, you guys, I've had to, wet his food, get it soaked up. Jackie Bain, you made it. Awesome. Israel, oh, yes, Ben. Israel has a deep state just like the U.S. Yep. Bibi is a great leader. Okay, so that's the thing. Is it a witch hunt in Israel like it is here in America? I don't know enough about Israeli politics. But we'll have to see. We'll see how this pans out. Muffin's with me right now, you guys. Pokey Sanchez. Oh, you got me. You got me, Dean. Oh, Dana says, thanks, man. Just got a debit card. Woo! Super hats. Oh, Muffin. Muffin loves it when I laugh, too. She's going to get right up in my face. Okay, honey. You got to sit down. Okay, well, let's read some stories. Let's read some stories until Wes shows up. Let's see here. What do we got? All right, so another one of our guests. I'm going to go into this for Roy. So Captain Roy D, he's generally here in the chat. I don't know where he's at tonight, but Captain Roy is a journalist like myself. I don't have a Reddit account because they deleted my Reddit account, and I haven't created a new one, so that's the only reason I'm not following Roy. But Roy's been on here for a minute since January of last year. So he writes articles about the deep state, about what's going on here in this great country, this land of ours, and he gets deep in the research. So I want to suggest that everybody, if you've got yourself a Reddit account, you go and follow Roy. His Reddit account is in the link for the description for the video below. So please definitely check out Roy. But now let's check out the news that I've got. So do you guys remember the Awan brothers? The Awan brothers, they ran a spy ring in Congress. They worked for Debbie Wasserman Schultz. They worked for many people in Congress. And, one of them just happened to die a fiery death in a Tesla. He was driving a Tesla, and he was burned to death in a fatal crash, and this was in Davie. I don't know where Davie is, and then it caught fire again at the tow yard. Man, you know, the lithium-ion batteries in Tesla vehicles can be dangerous. They can be dangerous, but let's take a look. Oops, wrong way.
Now, with new information about what caused the wreck. Sanella.
And Calvin, that Tesla actually caught fire 3 times to be exact since it was brought here to A Superior Towing. And Davie, you can see what is left of that vehicle right there. This is Davie. Police believe that speed was a factor in this awful accident. This is what's left of a Tesla involved in a fatal fiery wreck, incinerated and unrecognizable. The car is outside of A Superior Towing because it keeps reigniting. Davie Fire Rescue crews responding several times since it was brought here.
They had a problem where the car keeps catching fire because the battery pack itself hasn't drained yet. So we've been out here 3 times already.
Oh my God.
It was a dramatic scene Sunday afternoon. The Tesla engulfed in flames after the driver, Omar Awan, somehow lost control, skidding through 3 lanes of traffic before slamming into palm trees along the 1200 block of Flamingo Road.
It was just a massive ball of fire.
Witnesses told police they saw the car speeding, going at least 75 to 90 miles an hour. Onlookers watched on in horror as firefighters tried to battle the flames.
There was just no way anybody could have saved whoever was in there.
Family members arriving to the scene visibly distraught, telling officers their loved one's cell phone pinned them to this crash site. This comes after a similar high-speed crash involving a Tesla back in May of last year. 18-year-old Barrett Riley lost control of his Tesla S sedan and crashed into a wall on Seabreeze Boulevard in Fort Lauderdale. He and his passenger, Edgar Montserrat, were trapped inside as the car was engulfed in flames. Both died in that wreck, and Montserrat's family has filed a lawsuit against Tesla. And Tesla has released a statement since this accident happened. The company says they are saddened by the accident, that their thoughts are with the family involved here, and that they are cooperating fully with investigators. That's the latest here from Davie. Sanella Sabovic, Local 10 News.
Okay, so what do you guys think the chances are that Omar Awan, brother of Imran Awan, one of the ringleaders of the spy ring in Congress, who... Oh, you guys, I'm so sorry. I just realized that I did not have I did not have the video up. We'll watch it again.
Sanella Sabovic live now with new information about what caused the wreck. Sanella.
And Calvin, that Tesla actually caught fire 3 times to be exact since it was brought here to A Superior Towing. And Davey, you can see what is left of that vehicle right there. This is Davey. Police believe that speed was a factor in this awful accident. This is what's left of a Tesla involved in a fatal fiery wreck, incinerated and unrecognizable. The car is outside of A Superior Towing because it keeps reigniting. Davey fire rescue crews responding several times since it was brought here.
They had a problem where the car keeps catching fire because the battery pack itself hasn't drained yet. So we've been out here 3 times already.
Oh my God.
It was a dramatic scene Sunday afternoon. The Tesla engulfed in flames after the driver, Omar Awan, somehow lost control, skidding through 3 lanes of traffic before slamming into palm trees along the 1200 block of Flamingo Road.
It was just a massive ball of fire.
Witnesses told police they saw the car speeding, going at least 75 to 90 miles an hour. Onlookers watched on in horror as firefighters tried to battle the flames.
There was just no way anybody could have saved whoever was in there.
Family members arriving to the scene visibly distraught, telling officers their loved one's cell phone pinned them to this crash site. This comes after a similar high-speed crash involving a Tesla back in May of last year. 18-year-old Barrett Riley lost control of his Tesla S sedan and crashed into a wall on Seabreeze Boulevard in Fort Lauderdale. He and his passenger, Edgar Montserrat, were trapped inside as the car was engulfed in flames. Both died in that wreck, and Montserrat's family has filed a lawsuit against Tesla. And Tesla has released a statement since this accident happened. The company says they are saddened by the accident, that their thoughts are with the family involved here, and that they are cooperating fully with investigators. That's the latest here from Dave.
All right, so as I was saying, what are the chances that the Imran Awan and the brother of Imran Awan, Omar Awan, would die in a fiery wreck just merely minutes after the DOJ is taken over by someone who is willing to actually file charges against the people who really committed crimes on the other side of the aisle? The Awan brothers are some of the top people that I believe the Justice Department is probably going to want to talk to. I can't believe it's a coincidence. And I think that, Imran better, get some private security because it's not gonna be good. Okay, so Death Valley Press, my buddy Wes, he said that I can play the video without him. I thought he was going to be on here to talk about it too, but we're going to play it. And then John Ellingson just says, thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. Okay, you guys, I'm going to play the video. This is the world premiere of Dan Baker Woke AF for this version.
Friday night, live at Redfield 78. Please welcome Dan Baker.
Hey, my name is Dan, and I self-identify as woke. Yeah, because the last thing I need is to be misgendered as a normie, right? But yeah, I'm a truther and a comedian. And truthers, they're starting to get pretty popular these days. You know, there's a pinup calendar circulating. There's even something like a Billboard chart for truthers. Yeah, it's called Hillary's Top 200. But I didn't make the cut. Yeah, I just barely missed it. I'm number 201. Which would put me right at the top of Hillary's Heat Seekers chart, you know, whenever that comes out. But no, yeah, I like to I like to use comedy to red pill people, alright? But it does get kind of annoying when people in my daily life find out that I'm a comedian. You know, because right away you're required to do or say something funny, you know, right there on the spot. And they usually never laugh. And I never really say anything all that profound either, you know? Yeah, so I started calling myself an entertainer, you know, to leave a little bit more to the imagination. But that didn't really work out so well either. Yeah, the other day, I'm at work, you know. Yeah, I work a regular job. But, yeah, this guy's like, "Oh, entertainer, huh? Oh, yeah? You a clown? A magician? A juggler?" Yeah, I'm a juggler, yep. Yeah, I was hoping he'd just say wow and walk away, but it's never that easy, you know. But yeah. He's like, "Oh, yeah? What do you juggle? Flaming swords? Those bowling pin looking things?" I'm like, no, nothing like that. I pull out some envelopes from inside my coat pocket. I'm like, "Here, see? What the hell is this?" Water, electric, the student loan I've been paying off for the last decade. Yeah, I'm a juggler, all right. Now, when I say I'm woke, don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean I think I know everything, all right? Because really, in reality here, even woke people only know like 10% of what's really going on, right? Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, what separates the men from the boys is the ability to make the other 90% sound really cool. For example, Antarctica. What's going on in Antarctica? I'll tell you what's going on in Antarctica.
If you'd like to know more about Antarctica, please donate to Dan Baker's Patreon.
Nah, I'll tell you guys anyway. Yeah, Antarctica. The Antichrist is actually in Antarctica. Duh. That's why they call it Antarctica, right? The Latin root word for piece of is right in there. Yeah, and the Antichrist, he's about 4 years old, going on 5 now. But don't worry, he's fine. Yeah, he's doing well. He's in an underground facility on what they call a farm. Yeah, learning the ropes and preparing to their lives up. Yeah, because Soros and the Pope aren't really cutting it anymore. So yeah. Yeah, he's in the coloring phase right now. Learning shapes, stuff like that. But once he learns his ABCs, you know, watch out. There's no stopping him there. Now let's just take a second here to reflect on what just happened, alright? You see what I did there? I gave you 10% of solid truth, okay? Antarctica is a real place. So right off the bat, you know, that was true, okay? At least that's what the collective conscious believes to be true, okay? So, whatever. And Soros and the Pope, they aren't cutting it anymore. That's true too, okay? Now, I used my imagination to fill in all the blanks. And who knows, right? It could all be true, you know? That's how this works. Yeah, I love red pilling people, though. But I don't know if I'm all that great at it. Probably not as good as Mr. 78. But here's my philosophy. If you're gonna red pill someone, have fun with it, you know? And what's more fun than pissing someone off by telling them the truth, right? I was at this kid's birthday party, you know, and I'm scoping out the food table, trying to find something edible, you know. And I'm like, ugh, sick. Now I'm waiting for somebody to notice, you know, my disgust, so I can whistle blow a bag of hot dog buns. But, you know, no one took the bait. And I had to wait for someone's snotty little kid to be like, get out of the way, I want some chips. But I'm like, yeah, you're right. I can't believe what they put in these things, you know? This is supposed to be bread, which is like yeast and one other thing. This has like 80 things in it. Yeah, that's how I get people to think critically, all right? Critical thinking. Question everything, even your hot dog buns. Whistle blow something they love and cherish, like hot dog buns, all right? It's like Inception. Their whole world starts to turn upside down. Their reality is folding in on itself. But it really only works if you can get their attention, you know? That's the hard part. One way to get a normie's attention, well, really anyone's attention, is to say something is racist. Yeah, it's old, it's overused, but both sides, they're going to be ready to pounce on this, all right? One side's like, okay, we got to go make this right, all right? And the other side, they're like, this is just another hoax. But you know what? It's not always a hoax. Yeah, the other day, I'm in the middle of the most diverse place on planet Earth, Walmart, all right? And I bought a case of bottled water, you know? And I'm walking out of the store, everything's cool, right? And then I hear some tiny little lady runs me down. Receipt! Receipt! I'm like, oh, yeah, don't worry. They gave me one. Thanks for asking. Thanks for your concern, ma'am. You're going above and beyond the call of duty, and I respect that. But then something unexpected happens. Receipt! Receipt! And I realized two things, all right? One, she has no idea what I just said. And two, she wants to look at my receipt to verify that I purchased a $4 case of water. And I'm like, okay, I'll play along here, all right? See? $3.88. $3.88. Yeah, and as she's inspecting my receipt, I look over my shoulder. Some with like a 90-inch TV just casually walks by and he winks at me. Yeah. Stop the woke guy who's trying to avoid fluoride. Let the normie walk right by with a gigantic television. That's normie privilege. That's racism. Alright, yeah, it wasn't racism, but we don't have a term for, discrimination against people that are more aware of their surroundings. I don't know. If there is one, let me know, okay? But, yeah, this is depressing. This is really depressing, And that's just a small instance, that's... What about all the censorship, social media? We can talk about that all day, But, what really cheers me up? Satanists. Yeah. Satanists. Alright? People who follow Satan. You see their faces all over social media, and what's the common theme? Okay, besides the fact that they like to wear silly hats, what's the common theme? Anybody? No? They're smiling. Like the senior section of my high school yearbook, they're smiling. Now, doesn't that seem weird to you? Jay-Z, Beyonce, Marina, Podesta, all smiling. Smiling so hard and so awkwardly, it reminds me of my wedding day. When you've been smiling all day long, you're taking pictures of every moment, like they're gonna make a full-length, stop-motion movie out of this, and your cheeks hurt, and it's like, what the hell? Even the goth kids know you don't smile for the camera. It's not unless you're carrying a knife or something. Then it's okay to smile. But shouldn't they be doing something backwards, upside down, or like trying to lick their own noses? Something abominable. Something creative. They're supposed to be artistic, It's really disappointing when I see them smiling all over the place. It's like, it's total ripoff. Even Reagan knew. Not the former president. No, the girl from Exorcist. You don't just walk down the stairs smiling like a dumbass, alright? You are supposed to crawl backwards, upside down, piss yourself, You've seen this picture of Marina circulating? She's got this cone hat, red dress, middle of a grassy field, and she's just kind of standing there, smiling. Yeah, and it's like, I bet even Satan, he's like, you're doing it wrong again, dummy. Well, those are just some of my theories, but I don't want to wear out my welcome. So I just want to thank Mr. 78. Thanks for having me. Everybody, thanks for watching. I hope you all enjoyed the show. And if you did, tell your friends, your family, hell, even the people you don't like. Maybe it'll ruin their day, And yes, the Patreon account is real. And as you can see, I could really use a new shirt, right? So take care, Patriots. Love you guys.
All right, everyone. Thank you very much, Dan Q. Baker. That was Dan's first time on the show, actually, as a full set. We had him on a couple weeks ago for a shorter set. Thank you very much, everyone, for sticking with us. I know that some people are here for the news, and now we're going to get back to it. So that was Death Valley Press. You can find him there. And I just want to say thank you once more for bringing us your unique sense of humor, Wes. Appreciate it. And Dan Q. Baker, the little puppet. All right, so let's get into some stories here. Let's take a look. We talked about Imran Awan. This is a good story right here. Did everyone see my video about the fact that the Christopher Steele deposition has been ordered to be released? And also, if everyone would be so kind as to please like or share, subscribe if you have not subscribed yet. Share this on your favorite social media. We're going to have Space Shot 76 here in just a little bit. Just waiting on Mike to get together so we can have him and Captain Roy D here to talk about the book, The Invitation to the Great Awakening. One moment, I'm just going to check and make sure to see if Mike is ready yet. Nope, Mike is not in the chat yet. Let's see. I did get a message from him, though. Okay, Mike's going to be here in a few minutes. All right, so we've got a 13-day countdown. The judge has ordered the Dossier depositions to be released. In a move that is likely to break the Russian collusion narrative wide open, a Florida judge has ruled that depositions made by a former State Department official and the ex-British spy Christopher Steele must be released on March 14th. I also do want to say thank you very much to John Ellingson. He gave 2 super chats. He says, Texas for you, for Q. Ready and waiting for the word, I guess. Deep State can't be in Texas or very silent. Keep up the great work. Thank you very, very much. All right, guys, let's take a look. Now, also, I should mention, this is from one of my crackpot investigators, Jackie. Jackie, I believe you are out in the chat. If you are out there, go ahead and say hi, and then we can have people give you congratulations for sending this story my way. So yesterday, U.S. District Judge Ursula Ungaro ruled that the deposition testimony by former State Department official David Kramer and ex-British spy Christopher Steele must be released on March 14th. Both men fought tooth and nail to keep their statement private from the public. The 13-day countdown will likely prove a death blow to the Russian collusion narrative because the depositions were made for BuzzFeed in a lawsuit filed by Alexei Gubarev, a Russian businessman accused in the dossier of using his companies to hack into the DNC computers. And we know that that didn't happen. Now, although Ungaro dismissed the lawsuit on December 19th, the information will probably deliver key facts on how and why the dossier was created and then craftily spread through Washington. Kramer, a former State Department official, provided the dossier to a BuzzFeed reporter December 18, 2016, several weeks after meeting with Steele in London. Steele had been hired to create the dossier by his own testimony as a way for Hillary Clinton to be able to challenge the results of the 2016 presidential election, in case her other schemes didn't work. Many people remember that Clinton was also Secretary of State before her run, and have suggested that Kramer was one of her lackeys doing her bidding. Steele was hired in June 2016 by the opposition research firm Fusion GPS. With Clinton's strong ties to Russia, the best way to throw dust in the public's eye about her own vast collusion with the nation was to accuse Donald Trump of doing what she herself was guilty of. Think mirror. The vast conspiracy has not been proven, and in fact, a number of the claims in the dossier have been firmly discovered to be false. Not the least of which, the idea that Michael Cohen was in Prague. The Democrats were really, really hoping that he was going to say that that was true. So Michael Cohen's testimony did as much damage to the Democrats' theories on Russia as will the release of this testimony from Christopher Steele and David Kramer. Although the document was never verified and Obama officials knew that it was fabricated by Clinton and the DNC, the FBI used it anyways to get secret wiretaps and surveillance warrants against Carter Page and other Trump team members. The dossier suffered a heavy blow Wednesday during the congressional testimony of former Trump attorney Michael Cohen. Cohen denied under oath he visited Prague during the 2016 campaign, as the dossier alleges. Steele, a former MI6 official, claimed Cohen visited Kremlin officials in Prague to discuss paying off Russian hackers. Basically, the false document was used to create a false investigation designed to fish for any and every minor infraction possible. However, Democrats didn't count on the president's integrity. The plan has backfired, and the more that is discovered shows just how vile and conniving the left is, many people argue. Now these depositions will shed more light on the State Department's involvement and guilt. You know, that's a very good point right there. The Democrats did not count on the integrity of the president. They are so used to dealing with the scum of the earth. The Democrats, the people that they are involved with, are all as dirty as you can possibly get. So the fact that Donald Trump had nothing that they could dig up on him, sure, he had a couple of indiscretions. Sure, he dated a couple Playboy models. Good for Donald, okay? The man lived a life. He lived the life of a rich real estate broker from New York City. You know, I'm surprised that they haven't dug up more than that. So let's take a look here at, there's actually, I forgot to pull it up, but Dan Bongino. Dan Bongino's podcast today was incredible. He made some startling claims. Let's see. Oh, where is the articles? Well, shoot. This is from today's podcast. We're gonna have to. We're not gonna be able to listen to Dan's podcast here. But so in this episode, I addressed the complete collapse of the collusion fairy tale after the Cohen testimony. I also addressed the real reason that the anti-Trump conspirators are panicking as their narrative collapses. They are hiding something big. Finally, I addressed the Hanoi summit. Okay, so this is what happened. That last FISA warrant that they got included what Dan claims is intel from a fake Russian source. So the Russians sent someone to the Democrats to give them fake information so that the Democrats were receiving this bogus stuff just so that they could throw a monkey wrench into the American election system and the presidential election in particular. And then they would be able to just completely mess with our system of government, which they have. They have entirely. So, what did you say, Aaron? Even his taxes. Everyone hung at the Playboy Mansion. Didn't make them evil or guilty of illegal activities. That's right. That's right. Just because you date a Playboy model does not mean that you are... Yes, the Golden File, Tammy. That's it. I was trying to remember. I listened to it as I was getting ready for the show this evening. So, let me see. Oh, gosh. Does he actually jump to it? Here we go. Oh, yeah, there it is. Did President Obama read the Steele dossier in the White House last August? This is great. From his friend Lee Smith. We're going to make this bigger. To date, the investigation into the Fusion GPS manufactured collusion scandal has focused largely on the firm itself, its allies in the press, as well as contacts in the Department of Justice and FBI. However, if a sitting president used the instruments of state, including the intelligence community, to disseminate and legitimize a piece of paid opposition research in order to first obtain warrants to spy on the other party's campaign, and then to delegitimize the results of an election once the other party's candidate won, we're looking at a scandal that dwarfs Watergate. A story not about a bad man in the White House, but about the subversion of key security institutions that are charged with protecting core elements of our democratic process while operating largely in the shadows. You guys, see some people saying it's buffering. Refresh your screen and tell your kids to get off the Wi-Fi and the iPads. One moment. Let's see. I love you too. A tablet investigation using public sources to trace the evolution of the now famous dossier suggests that central elements of the Russiagate scandal emerged not from the British ex-spy Christopher Steele's top secret sources in the Russian government, which are unlikely to exist separate from Russian government control, but from a series of stories that Fusion GPS co-founder Glenn Simpson and his wife Mary Jacoby co-wrote for the Wall Street Journal well before Fusion GPS existed, and Donald Trump was simply another loudmouthed Manhattan real estate multimillionaire. Understanding the origins of the Steele dossier is especially important because of what it tells us about the nature and the workings of its supporters would hopefully describe as an ongoing campaign to remove the elected president of the United States. Yet the involvement of people... Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped a line. Of what its supporters would hopefully describe as an... No, I didn't. Yet the involvement of sitting intelligence officials and a sitting president in such a campaign should be a frightening thought, even to people who despise Trump and oppose every single one of his policies, especially in an age where the possibilities for such abuses have been multiplied by the power of secret courts, wide-spectrum surveillance, and the centralized creation and control of storylines that live on social media while being fed from inside protected nodes of the federal bureaucracy. In a Facebook post from June 24th, 2017, that tablet has seen in screenshots, Jacoby claimed that her husband deserves the lion's share of credit for Russiagate. She has not replied to repeated requests for comment. And this is Glenn Simpson's wife talking here. It's come to my attention that some people still don't realize what Glenn's role was in exposing Putin's control of Donald Trump, Jacoby wrote. Let's be clear. Glenn conducted the investigation. Glenn hired Christopher Steele. Chris Steele worked for Glenn. Sounds like Glenn needs to go to prison. This assertion is hardly a simple assertion of family pride. It goes directly to the nature of what became known as the Steele dossier, on which the Russiagate narrative is founded. The fact that Jacoby is a reporter who often shared bylines with her husband at the Wall Street Journal is another reason to take her Facebook post seriously. I got someone sending well wishes to Chi-Chi and Muffin. All right. So yeah, how many likes do we have? We have 228 likes, guys. Oh, 663. All right, we've got 1,700 people in the chat. If everyone in the chat was to give a thumbs up, we would be another 1,100 higher. Thank you. Thank you very much. So last week's revelation that Simpson hired Nellie Orr, the wife of ranking Justice Department official Bruce Orr, to work on this dossier certainly supports Jacoby's implicit contention that Steele's role in compiling the dossier has been exaggerated. Orr is a Stanford PhD whose expertise in Russia, and she appears to be fluent in the language. Perhaps she conducted interviews along with, or even instead of, the British ex-spy whose byline helped credential the now famous Oppo research file as an intelligence product. Maybe she wrote up parts of the dossier, or even the whole thing. In any case, the history of the Steele dossier doesn't begin with Christopher Steele or Nellie Orr in the summer of 2016. It begins with a story that Glenn Simpson and Mary Jacoby co-wrote for the Wall Street Journal dated April 17, 2007. How lobbyists help ex-Soviets woo Washington. And it details how prominent Republicans, including the 1996 Republican presidential candidate Robert Dole, opened doors in the American Capitol for Kremlin-affiliated oligarchs and other friends of Vladimir Putin. Among those friends of Putin was Viktor Yanukovych, who would become president of Ukraine in 2010. According to the article, one of Yanukovych's wealthy patrons paid a political fixer named Paul Manafort to introduce Yanukovych to powerful Washington, D.C. figures, including former Vice President Dick Cheney. Manafort figures prominently throughout the piece. A year later, when Simpson and Jacoby discovered that a consultant to John McCain's 2008 presidential campaign was working with Yanukovych, they could hardly have been surprised to find Paul Manafort in the middle of a new scandal. As they reported in another Wall Street Journal article dated May 14, 2008, Davis Manafort, Manafort's lobbying firm, was escorting Yanukovych around Washington. For instance, in 2006, Manafort accompanied him at a breakfast for journalists at the Willard Hotel. DW Rain 1 says, first super chat for broke Navy vet on FNL falling on direct deposit day coincidence. Always laugh, it's contagious. We love you, Patriot. Diane, Chihuahuas, Pepe, Lucy, and Ricky. Cats, Peaches, and Putin. Oh, dude, I really appreciate that. Thank you for the super chat, and thanks for hanging out. Oh, Space Shot 76 is in the house? All right, we're going to finish this article, and then we're going to bring you in. Noel Anderson says, God bless you, Trump. That's right. Bless President Trump. He is the man. Simpson and Jacoby had ID'd Manafort as a world-class sleazeball, and they were right. A slick Georgetown law grad running in GOP circles since the Reagan campaign, Manafort used his talents and connections to get paid by some very bad hombres. I would only add here that in my personal experience, journalists are not in the habit of forgetting major stories they've written, especially stories with a character like Manafort at the center. So when the Trump campaign named Paul Manafort as its campaign convention manager on March 8, 2016, you can bet that Simpson and Jacoby's eyes lit up. As it happened, at the exact same time that Trump hired Manafort, Fusion GPS was in negotiations with Perkins Coie, the law firm representing the Clinton campaign and the DNC, to see if there was interest in the firm continuing the opposition research on the Trump campaign that had started for the Washington Free Beacon. In addition to whatever sales pitch Simpson might have offered about Manafort, the Clinton campaign had independent reason to believe that research into Manafort's connections might pay some real political dividends. A Democratic consultant and Ukrainian-American activist named Alexander Chalupa told the Clinton campaign about Manafort's work for Yanukovych. I flagged for the DNC the significance of his hire, Chalupa told CNN in July of this year. Perhaps it was this alignment of the stars that clinched the deal. According to an October 24, 2017 letter from Pkwy, the firm hired Fusion GPS to continue its research in April, shortly after Manafort was hired by Trump. Once you understand that Simpson knew exactly who Paul Manafort was, it's impossible not to spot the former journalist's creative wit sprinkled throughout the dossier, which uses the tantalizing figure of Putin to draw attention to corruption that Glenn Simpson knew was entirely real from his own reporting. Ex-Ukrainian President Viktor Yanukovych confides directly to Putin that he authorized kickback payments to Manafort, as alleged in Western media, the document relates. Assures Russian president, however, there is no documentary evidence or trail. It's as if Simpson has hung a kick me sign on Manafort to encourage some prosecutor to find the documentary evidence or trail that did in fact exist. Sure enough, Special Counselor for the Russia investigations, Robert Mueller, has found it. The October indictment charges Manafort with laundering millions that came from Yanukovych. Manafort's relationship with Yanukovych was widely known inside Ukrainian political circles, as well as to Clinton campaign head John Podesta's brother, Tony Podesta, who worked directly for Manafort while he represented Yanukovych. Another charge in Mueller's indictment against Manafort is that in lobbying U.S. officials on behalf of Ukraine, he failed to register as a foreign agent. The fact that he failed to do so even after Simpson and Jacoby pinged him publicly nearly a decade ago, twice for his work with Yanukovych, is an important detail because it suggests Manafort wasn't just corrupt and deceitful, but displayed an arrogance bordering on sociopathic, which is the kind of personal characteristic that no attentive journalist is likely to miss, and which should certainly disqualify someone from a role in American public life. It is a fair bet that all of us, including or especially Trump's supporters, owe Simpson and Jacoby thanks for ridding American politics of Paul Manafort. So maybe that's how Simpson first envisioned what became known as the Steele dossier. A way to nail Paul Manafort, who was clearly and openly a very bad guy. But if the dirt Simpson had on Manafort gave the opposition research a clear target, Trump's possible connections to Russia, through his apparently dirty and sociopathic campaign manager, the problem, it seems, was none of Fusion GPS's principals. Former reporters with plenty of experience covering stories around the world knew very much about Russia, the country that was the ostensible subject of their research. Otherwise, it is inconceivable that Fusion GPS would have taken a project from pro-Kremlin elements to undermine an American law, the Magnitsky Act. At the same time, it was being paid by the Clinton campaign and DNC to tie the Trump campaign to pro-Kremlin elements. Perhaps Christopher Steele was hired to disguise that apparent contradiction. Ellen No says, I like you a lot, you laugh a lot, but I love number 5. What is number 5? I don't know what that means. Oh, you love the number 5. Thank you very much, Ellen. I appreciate that. Did I miss another one I got to call out? Oh, just no. We already said hello. Thank you again. Okay, so in June, 3 months after being hired by the lawyers for the Clinton campaign and the DNC, Simpson brought on Steele, but Steele hadn't lived or worked in Russia in nearly 25 years. Since he was identified as a British spy in 1999, he was head of the Russia desk when Russian assassins killed FSB defector Alexander Litvinenko in a sushi restaurant in the British capital. Steele was hardly in a position to make discreet inquiries. Still, Simpson must have thought Steele's name at a minimum would be useful in marketing whatever his firm pulled together. Reportedly, Steele had a good relationship with the FBI, as we definitely know, and journalists love spies who spill secrets. Nellie Orr, Fusion's next hire, spoke Russian and wrote well enough to publish in academic journals, but she hadn't lived in Russia for decades either, and she was not a spy or even a journalist. In this world, she was definitely an amateur. Presumably, as a result of all of the above, much of the reporting in the dossier is recognizably the kind of patter that locals in closed or semi-closed societies engage in to impress expats. The kind of thing you hear in a bar or on the cab ride from the airport to the hotel. So you're telling me this guy Carter Page, who almost no one in Moscow has heard of, was offered a 19% stake in Rosneft, worth around $10 billion if Trump relieves sanctions on Russia? Duh, some even say 21%. That Fusion GPS had apparently little on Russia, never mind on Trump's dealings in Russia, is partly a reflection of the sorry state of U.S. government expertise an insight into a country that 2 decades ago was derided as a scrap heap, and which President Obama appeared to dismiss during the 2012 campaign as largely a figment of the outdated Cold War imagination of his opponent. Intelligence sources were badly needed elsewhere to track terrorists, or spy on America's putative allies, or summon up a contest for power in Tehran between hardliners and moderates, or even to spy on our own citizens. Obama believed the reset with Russia was a foreign policy priority, and he needed Vladimir Putin's support on Iran sanctions. Later, he needed Putin at his side to make sure the Iran deal went through. Mucking around too aggressively in Putin's inner circle was likely to cause more problems than it solved. As a result, even America's top spies know very little about what went on inside Russia. There were some well-placed observers who saw this vacuum as a potential threat. The chairman of the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence said so right around the time the Clinton campaign and the DNC brought on Fusion GPS to investigate Manafort and Trump's Russia ties. As HPSI-SCI Chair Devin Nunes was part of the Gang of Eight, the 4 congressmen and 4 senators who have oversight of the entire intelligence community and know what secrets we have and what we don't. Nunes told CNN on April 12, 2016, many months before the Russiagate narrative went public, that when it comes to Russia, the United States was flying blind. It would be hard to take issue with Nunes' assessment. The U.S. intelligence community was surprised by Putin's takeover of Crimea. When Russia escalated its military presence in Syria in late summer of 2015, U.S. intelligence was again caught off guard, and even though Moscow was sending troops and arms through the Bosporus, a waterway controlled by a NATO member, the biggest intelligence failure we've had since 9/11, Nunes told Jake Tapper, has been the inability to predict the leadership plans and intentions of the Putin regime in Russia. It's hardly surprising, then, that the intelligence community did not immediately identify Russia as responsible for the hack of the DNC emails either. Instead, it was the DNC itself and the Clinton campaign that pointed the finger at the Russians. After discovering some unusual network activity, this is BS, a DNC executive called a committee lawyer at Perkins Coie who put them in touch with CrowdStrike. And it was CrowdStrike that first said Russian state actors were behind the hack and leaked them to WikiLeaks. After the emails were released July 22nd, Clinton campaign chief Robbie Mook told ABC News that some experts are now telling us this was done by the Russians for the purpose of helping Donald Trump. Which experts? Well, the tech experts at CrowdStrike might be able to tell you who did something, but not why. Mook doesn't name the experts who had clued him into Russia's intentions, but the DNC and Clinton campaign did have an Oppo research firm contract that was in the middle of putting together a file that would claim the Russians were trying to get Trump elected. Since Steele authored the Russia dossier's first memo a month before Mook's comment on June 20th, it seems fair to assume that Mook understood the thrust of the dossier, which the campaign had paid for, and that his claim regarding Russia's intentions is the first public reference to the dossier. An FBI spokesperson said the Bureau was looking at the breach but did not comment on whether the Bureau was looking in the possible political motivation behind the hack. And yet right around the same time, in late July, the FBI opened an investigation into possible collusion between the Trump campaign officials and Russian operatives. According to the New York Times, only a dozen or so people at the FBI knew about the investigation, including Director James Comey and Peter Strzok, who was chosen to supervise. You guys, this is long. I'm going to stop because we need to bring in Mike. I didn't realize this article was going to be so long. Okay, Mike, I am about to bring you in. Okay, we got Mike, we got Captain Roy D. Guys, go ahead and take your mute buttons off. Unmute.
I think I'm good. Can you hear me, bro?
I can hear you, Space Shot. How are you, brother?
Mic check.
Captain Roy D. You're working.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you here. Glad to have both of you here, gentlemen. Excuse me. God, I didn't realize that article was going to be a 45-minute read. Excuse me, 1 second. I got a cough. You guys introduce yourselves for the audience. I'm going to cough.
Well, everybody knows Space Shot. I'm Captain Roy D. I'm a poster at Reddit. I'm very much in the same vein as Serial Brain 2. And I'm a contributor along with Red Pill and Space Shot with this new book that we all came up with, and we're real excited about. Thank you.
Yes, very, very excited about this book. I'm actually trying to pull up my PDF copy right now, but hang on, let's see if I can find it. Okay. And Space Shot, how are you? What's up, buddy?
What's going on, brother? Yeah, I'm pretty excited about the book. We got a lot of great heads in there, a lot of great minds, mine excluded. I'm really psyched about it, dude, and I'm stoked to get my copy as well. But I'm getting locked out of my Amazon account for some reason. They must not like me anymore.
Really?
But I want that book.
That's no good. Captain Roy, tell us who all is in the book.
Okay, thank you, Red Pill. Well, besides the three of us, obviously, Dustin Nemus was very instrumental in helping to get the team together and work with our fine publisher. We have Scorpio Patriot. She's kind of like she's a board owner at Reddit. She's kind of like our own code monkey that they have on the board. So we have Scorpio Patriot. Everybody knows Joe M. Everybody loves Joe M. We're very fortunate to have Joe M. We have Zacko DeFracco. Liberty Linus, she has a nice meme chapter. Linda Paris, folks would know her as Deplorable McAllister. Lori Colley, everybody likes Lori's work, and really, I give the pamphlet anon as far as really one of the first people on the boards to point Q out to everybody else that was hanging out there. We have pamphlet anon and his great wife Radix with a chapter. Sarah Westall, who's super. And a person I've always tried to emulate as far as in my writings and in the conduct and everything else in this movement is Serial Brain 2.
Yes, Serial Brain. I have not had the opportunity to read through everybody else's chapters yet, but I'm very excited to do so. And man, I'm trying to pull up that. Here we go. No, this is the PDF. I got it, guys. Oh no, this is not it.
Well, Mike, what's your take on as far as being all part of this little piece of history? We did the POTUS end around, like he went around the fake media. We went around all the censorships, and heck, if everybody gets behind this book here, it's going to go mainstream.
Yeah, I think it has a very good possibility to be a huge eye opener for a lot of people because, like you said, you were mentioning earlier that Andrew McCabe, his book is #1 on the chart, and I bet you we could slot him right off of there. Him and his fake news swamp book, a lot of great lines though in that book. I'm so happy to be amongst the authors that were in that, and we did the proofs section. It was named how many times before mathematically impossible. Did I get that right there, Red Bill?
Yeah, how long before it's mathematically impossible? But yes, very close, Mike.
Well, it was a teamwork on everybody's behalf, and everybody contributed a chapter. We're just hopeful right now that it's going to be welcomed by the community, and that it's good. People can use this as a red pill. And we're just kind of promoting it right now because we've all pretty much donated this chapter, is trying to get the publisher her money back because she took a big risk. I can assure you that every company you'd want to name had turned this thing down, and to the point of just not even responding. Most people went out of their way to curse QAnon and really, make fun of even trying to, solicit that they'd be interested in this book. So it was really, and we had a hard time even, we were holding our breath that says Amazon wasn't even going to put it through. We have a saint of a publisher because she found out to put it in. We're under political, but she put it in initially under censorship, was kind of a minor subject. If you're kind of like a Sarah Carter, John Solomon, or Greg Jarrett writing books, you just go right to the top of political. You don't have to be in a side sub and then work your way up. But she was smart that this got around the filters, and then we can work our way. We're already in the main line right now. We've already bypassed those, and they can't stop us now.
Yeah, I think it's pretty incredible that the day that we release it, we're already in this hot section on Amazon. When you guys first came to me with this, I thought that it was a great idea. And, when I saw the list of everybody that was in it, they're all people that I respect, all people whose, information that I've either read or that I've watched. It's great how each of us have our own unique take on a very specific part of the Q movement. And one of the things that Roy, that you had mentioned is that if this book profits, we're talking about setting up some type of a trust fund to help aspiring young truther journalists, something like that. Is that what you had mentioned?
Yeah, absolutely. Because so many people, and I'm not going to name it, but the majority of the people, I'll mention Zero Brain as one because has never accepted a penny for anything ever done. You know what I mean? So when this thing came up, they of course you wish it would be a bestseller, but again, we had to address that right off. So people that have sworn off, even if it's a bestseller, they want it all to go to this charity. So instead of getting into 12 different charities, we came up with an idea that we'll just have a scholarship fund. That all the money, the publisher's going to hold all the money as she would splits or whatever, and then we'll get together every year and we'll have 3 categories. One will be the anons, and those will be like investigative journalists. Another will be like you guys, which will be the broadcasters, we're going to call it. That's the YouTube people. Yep. And then the third will be like for myself and Cyril Brain is going to be the bakers as far as the writers. So for all young people, we'll have 3 year. Again, on the best case scenario that it does. Get above the break even, and there's some money there. So that's kind of a thing. We try to get the profit element out of it. We've all donated these chapters, and again, if it breaks even and people enjoy it, I mean, I'll be happy at that. If it takes off beyond that, we have something in place to help the movement, and it's going to be called Where We Go One, Where We Go All Scholarships, just like our title. Because if you look at the book, it's a collaborative effort by 12 Anons, and that's our group.
Well, I think that's a great idea, and I'm all for it. I definitely want my proceeds, if there's any proceeds for me, I want them to go to help other young people, be able to get into something like this. Because, one of the things that makes it so difficult is, this takes up a lot of your time. I mean, like, I have a full-time job so that I can pay my bills, and then, all of my spare time is devoted to this. And if you have the ability to devote, the majority of your time to pursuing this stuff, then the limits of what you can achieve are almost, infinite. So to be able to give someone who is interested in doing something like what we do, collectively, I think that's very, very exciting, and I'm all for it.
Hey, Captain Roy, tell the audience who you sent a couple copies off to.
Oh yeah, thanks for reminding me, Space Shot. Yeah, exactly. Our first 2 copies before, and that's why I haven't even got my copy yet. The first 2 went to the White House, one to President Trump, and another specifically addressed to QAnon.
That is the coolest thing. That is the coolest thing. And I see people asking about the title. It's on the screen, guys. It's called QAnon, An Invitation to the Great Awakening. And every few minutes, I am dropping the link so that you can go purchase it if you want. Well, Peapod, we were just talking about that. If we get royalties, right now, all the proceeds of the book are just paying back the publisher for the cost of putting this out. And then if we do make any money, we're setting up a scholarship fund for young truther broadcasters, writers, people in different types of media that can continue to go on and do this work. Now, Zak N., thank you for the super chat, is asking, are we going to have an audio version of the book? I think that's a really good idea, Roy. Is that in the pipe?
What we have already, because again, we had to kind of pass a couple of hurdles. You have to understand, even with our publisher, she's been a little gamey about this whole QAnon and everything we said. It's been kind of a growing process with her. So she's right now putting out, and it'll be available. And if not tomorrow, by the next day, it will be the ebook version, and that's only going to be like $9.99. So it's under $10. They'll get the whole thing, and it will be in color. So that's coming up next. And again, as that takes off, the audio is the next phase. If you understand, it's kind of like a crescendo. If the sales go, that's the natural progression, and then the thing after that would be then starting in different languages.
Excellent. Well, I can see it coming. I think it's going to happen. Well, what about the world of Q, you guys? Anything happen today?
Oh yeah. I was going to say too, on the audiobook side of it too, I'm definitely ordering a copy. I'm ordering 2 copies anyways for a hard copy. One that I'm going to keep for myself, but I'm also going to get an audiobook because I don't like to read. If I can have somebody read it to me, that's definitely going to go down like that. But as far as Q, yeah, he dropped a couple of links to President Trump's Twitter posts talking about basically, this is a witch hunt. It needs to end. And basically now we're going to start looking at the Democrats and where the real crimes were committed. And he ended off with, I think he said, rocket bombs are okay, but nukes are better. And then he said -18, or was it -21, -20, negative 19, negative 18. So he's letting us know that 21-day counter that was in post 2902 or 3, that he said negative 21, big happenings are happening. So he's referencing that and letting us know that, the clock is still ticking down. So I'm looking for big things.
That's right. It's happening. It is happening. March is going to be a huge month. Roy, do you have any interesting decodes you want to tell us about? What's your latest article?
Well, the last one I did was it was termed Sayonara Five Eyes and Welcome Three Eyes, and that's just about the upcoming demise of the decades-old Five Eyes agreement, because the other four have stabbed our POTUS in the back, and the development of the new Three Eyes, because again we're going to have partners, and I'm calling it on being Saudi Arabia, Russia, and ourselves as being the new three, and keeping a good eye on Russia and keeping an eye, three of us, on China.
I think you're probably right about that. We are definitely three global powerhouses, and it's imperative to have those areas of the world covered. Let's see here. We did have a couple of people I need to thank in the super chat. T just said WH here. Congrats. I don't know what that means. But Black Eagle, Black Eagle just ordered their copy on Amazon.
White House.
White House. Oh, T's in the White House? Awesome. That's pretty cool. Excellent. So let
us know if you get a copy.
Yeah, please tell us. I think that'll be really cool, you guys, if we had like a single copy that each of us were to autograph, and then we could maybe use it as some type of a contest or something like that.
I'm down. Dustin even had somebody talking about doing an oil painting, and then putting that towards chair.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, we could use this as like an ongoing, thing to raise money for the charity. That would be so cool.
Hey, what else is really good about it is we got two people that everybody thought was Q, or should I say the shills thought was Q. Everybody thinks that Joe M was John F. Kennedy Jr., and everybody was thinking that Pamphlet was Q, or the shills were trying to say that Pamphlet was Q. But I think we all know better now, because, once they went to 5, 6, 7 different people that Q was, people started to notice.
Excellent. And my friend T actually just commented, it's White Hat. It was my guest, White Hat, who was telling us about his job in the federal government last week. So thank you very much for joining us, White Hat. Glad you're here. Captain Ron, do you think you can send me over that link for the PDF copy of the book so that I can pull that up on screen and we can show the authors that are in the book? Is that possible?
Yeah, I've been looking too.
I totally had it saved. Okay. Yeah, I had it saved, and it's just not in my downloads folder anymore. Live, Love, and Get Ready says, what is new in the book that us QAnons do not know? Anything that newcomers can decipher. Well, I mean, it's called an invitation to the Great Awakening, I think, because it really is kind of a primer for the movement and things that have taken place. We've got the section on proofs. We've got we've each got our own section. I'm waiting for Roy to send me over the PDF copy so that I can pull it up and give you guys a little preview. Zach says, make lithos poster prints. Need one for my man cave. That's a good idea too, Roy. Posters. We can have individual artists donate an oil painting or a painting or a drawing or something, one for each chapter, and then we could go ahead and use that as a poster. Okay, all right, awesome. Mike just sent me over that copy of the book. Cynthia Papa says she bought 2 copies. Thank you, Cynthia. All right, getting this pulled up here, guys, so we can go over these chapters, give you a little preview.
I was going to say, don't forget to give us a nice 5-star rating on there. That helps get us up.
Yeah.
Yes, anybody that buys a book, we ask if you would please give a review, because it helps the filters. They're really trying to, now that we've caught their attention, they're doing what they can, and the positive feedback would really be better.
Yes, everybody, that would be great. If you did buy the book tonight, if you could also leave us a 5-star review. We've got 13 5-star reviews right now. I'm going to go ahead and refresh the screen and see if we've gotten any more. Nope, still 13. All right, so this is just the proof copy, guys, so I don't know if it's going to look a little bit different when you're actually looking at it, but let's take a look and see who the chapters are. So, An Invitation to the Great Awakening. Look at that, we even got the bell in there. That's beautiful. So yeah, Captain Roy and Dustin, they were contributing editors, and then we have Crystal, Scorpio Patriot, Joe M., Julesy, Zacho, Liberty Lioness, Linda Paris, Lori Colley, Pamphlet, Radix, Red Pill 78, Sarah Westall, Serial Brain 2, and Space Shot 76. So the chapters are The Plan to Save the World, General Michael Flynn describing the QAnon movement, When Will It Become Mathematically Impossible? That's Mike and I. The Day I Knew Q Wasn't a Hoax, Decoding and Deciphering Q, Changing the Narrative, The Power of Memes, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, Characters of Obamagate, Spygate, Schumer's Shutdown, The Election of a Lifetime, Human Compromise, The Currency of the Powerful, The Fake MAGA Problem, and The Day I Helped Q Make Alex Jones Cry. The Resistance is On, and It's Time to Wake Up. So we've got, this book is just packed full. It's almost 300 pages.
Well, and again, to ask about, you have to remember, we submitted a lot of this stuff in December, too.
Yep. So, I think overall, the moral of the story is, if you guys buy the book, it is going to go for a good cause. If you were to buy this book and then give it to a relative or a loved one, someone who doesn't know about Q, someone who is not familiar with the movement, then it would go a long ways toward, giving them a soft red pill, and then you can bring them in after that. Garrett Slyster says, "Hey guys, thank you so much for what you've done here. Just bought 5 copies to give my family and close friends." Awesome. Took the advice. Red Pill 78, I'm still planning on emailing you when I'm ready to talk about what I've seen regarding MK Ultra as a psychiatric inpatient. Garrett, redpill78 at protonmail.com. Please, anytime you're ready, buddy. Rhonda Martin says, "Thank you for explaining the sliding bar. Love your work. You are the news now." That's right. We are all the news, and I think we all want to help make sure that generations to come are able to continue to do this stuff. Now, did you guys see the news that I put in my video that they have sent, Jim Jordan and some others have sent a letter to William Barr suggesting that he investigate all the top social media companies for their work in trying to subvert the U.S. election?
Oh, I haven't heard about that, but I hope they look into more than that as far as censoring the crap out of us.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody had actually sent me a picture. If I drop it here, you can put it on the screen, right?
Yeah.
Somebody sent me a picture on Twitter. It said, he goes, "Look, if I search for you on my mobile, I get your videos. If I search for you on my laptop, I get only the videos that are a week old." What the hell's up with that?
That's weird. They'll do anything to keep us down. You're going to drop that in a private message, or in the voice chat room?
Yeah, I put it in the lounge. But yeah, they're doing everything. If you guys heard SGT, he's usually getting 20 to 30,000 subs. Like Red Pill at 20 to 30,000 subs a week or something like that. But he's down to 7 or 8,000, and his revenue is down 50%. And they're doing everything they can to kill the conservative voice. And if you go searching for Q or searching anything, what they call conspiracy theory, you're going to find what you're looking for way, way, way down. And they made the algorithm to bring all of the, "Oh, no, that's bullcrap," those type of videos. No, 9/11, that's exactly how it happened, how they said it happened. Those videos will be at the top now. And all of our videos, even when you search Q, are going to be way down, 20 people down. Log out and check that. It's worse.
Yeah, no, I was looking the other day, and the stuff that shows up first is all ABC News, CNN, MSNBC, videos with 150 views. And then our videos with 50 to 100,000 views are on page 20. You really got to go dig for them then.
Well, bear in mind, I know that Dustin's been way off. He's been hit hard by the YouTube business. And, people like Cyril Brain and myself, some of the posters, It's been accused still publicly banned at Reddit since September of 2018. We've not had a home, outside of our own private pages. I mean, it's beyond criminal.
Yes, it is. It is. I really hope that William Barr does something about this. I think that if anybody's going to do it, it's going to be Barr, because he clearly wants an equal application of the law. He does not like what's happened to the Justice Department. He agrees with us that Hillary Clinton, there's a far greater basis for investigations into Hillary Clinton than there ever was for investigations into Donald Trump. And the Democrats are just crapping in their pants right now. They see exactly what's going on. And I think it's only a matter of time. I mean, March has started out and it's already begun. The 14 days or the 13 days now that we've got to wait until the Steele deposition gets released. I think that's going to be huge. The day after that, we've got, hopefully the release of that HRC video. That's the Ides of March. Q has called attention to the Ides of March on several occasions. And then right after that, we've got the information potentially about March 18th.
Yeah, very, very interesting stuff going on here. And, I take a step back and I look at it, right? And people are like, Trump's an idiot. So we know he's a genius. We know he's a chess master, right? So if you take a step back and look at it, it's like, okay, you had this guy Mueller come in and apply for the FBI director job when he had already been the FBI director for 12 years and can only really be it for 10. So there's no way in hell this guy would have been the FBI director again. He meets with President Trump and Rod Rosenstein in the Oval Office, right? And then here we are 2 years later, and who does he hire to be the Attorney General? One of Robert Mueller's good friends. So either he's got to be the stupidest person on the face of the planet, which I know we all know is not true, or he's got one hell of a plan, one hell of a laid out plan ready for us to unfold. And, if Q was a lot and things weren't going to be happening, it would be all these investigations that we're finding out now, all the leaked investigations with like Baker and all these other people and Orr. These are coming from investigations that are going to bear fruit. And like Red Pill was saying, it's going to be sooner than later. So, I think they have to end that Mueller case first, and they've been alluding to it for a couple of weeks. I think once Mueller's done, then he can unload the FISA because once again, he's just trying to, block the Mueller investigation. He's just trying to stop Mueller from his investigation. Well, once that's out of the way, they can't use that as he's trying to stop anything anymore. So once Mueller's case is done, they're all done, and they know it too.
Yeah, I think that Barr's affiliation with Mueller gave him legitimacy, to a point in the eyes of the Democrats, and made it a lot harder for them to not, confirm him and allow him to be put into that position. But at the same time, his proximity to Mueller allowed him to also know all of the dirty things that had been done. Likewise, with his, former position as AG under H.W. Bush. And then when he worked with him at the Clowns in America. I think he knew exactly what was going on. Perhaps, he might have been compromised along the way. He might have been forced to do some things that he didn't like. But I think that, in the twilight of his years, Bill Barr wants to go out being remembered as the guy that helped save America.
Yeah. Oh, hey, and I forget even where I heard it today. I don't even know. It might even have been a Serial Brain 2 post, or it might have been Dan Bongino while I listen at work. But they were referencing back, you remember when they were having the Kavanaugh trials, right? Or the confirmation.
Yeah.
And Q had referenced, like, okay, they said, if I back off of the FISA, we'll stop all the antics and the charges of sexual abuse with Kavanaugh. And obviously he said, no, he's going to get through either way. So back then they made it a point, and I found it, a very good point, that they were willing to just give up that Supreme Court seat right there, just if he'll back off of that FISA, because they know how very, very bad it is. That is so much worse in their eyes than just losing one Supreme Court justice. So I found that to be a really good point.
Yeah, the D-class with the information from that final FISA warrant is going to blow the lid off of all of this. Devin Nunes was out there talking about that earlier, about how the information in it is so damning. It is going to destroy any possible legacy that Obama might have left, and it's going to expose all of these people that had everything to do with it. Someone is asking HRC video March 18th. No, HRC video is supposed to be the 15th. I mean, that's just the information that I gleaned from the post, but it was kind of hinted at. But the thing on March 18th was the source that I had for the Chopper video gave some information to my friend, alluded to the fact that something big was going to take place on March 18th. Now, he characterized it as an apocalyptic event. But the way that I see it is that if we're going to have that video coming out on the 15th, if we're going to have the Mueller investigation ending around that time as well, the deep state is going to be desperate to do anything they can to change the news cycle. And if it is something as horrendous and criminal as the HRC video, then they would probably go to any length possible to get people's minds onto something, anything else, even if it means, a biological or a nuclear attack, something like that. I mean, what do you guys think? What do you think they're going to do if that HRC video comes out? I mean, how panicked are they going to be?
Well, somebody else had brought it up too, and I'm having like a serious brain fart here, but somebody else, and they brought it up about the deep fake videos, about how you can fake the videos, and it was somebody that wasn't even it wasn't really even consequential. I think it was just somebody on the news, so it may have been like a Don Lemon or somebody like that, but they keep bringing up this deep fake video, like, oh, now we have to worry about these deep fake videos. We put somebody's head onto somebody else's body, and so they're making it look like, or they're putting it out there that hey, you can fake videos nowadays. But I read that article, right?
Yeah.
And I read it on a video, and it said you can almost completely fake the video. So there's going to be people out there that are going to be able to say, no, that's real and that's fake. So almost completely.
I tell you, Red Pill, I zeroed in on the last post where he mentioned tactical nuke.
Yes.
The carpet bombs we know, and the stealth bomber, all that stuff. But a tactical nuke, to my knowledge, does not come up. And sometimes things are not coincidental.
Yeah. So specifically, in relation to the president's tweet, and we read the tweets at the beginning of the show. So, well, I'll read them again just in case anybody wasn't here. So. President Trump had said, oh, I see. Now that the 2-year Russian collusion case has fallen apart, there's no collusion except by crooked Hillary and the Democrats. They say, gee, I have an idea. Let's look at Trump's finances and every deal he's ever done. Let's follow discredited Michael Cohen and the fraudulent and dishonest statements he made on Wednesday. No way. It's time to stop this corrupt and illegally brought witch hunt. Time to start looking at the other side where real crimes were committed. Republicans have been abused long enough. Must end now. And our favorite Anon says, carpet bombs are okay. Tactical nukes are better. T-minus 21, 20, 19, 18. The days are counting down. And Space Shot just sent over this little graphic here showing the fact that President Trump says, bye, crooked Hillary. Bye, crooked Hillary. I believe that March is going to spell the end of Hillary Clinton and the Democrats and the deep state at the very least.
Yep, March Madness. And then remember that we had the quotes A in the kill box for both the A for April and arrests. So
yep.
April arrests after March.
2019, besides justice, will be the glorious.
It's already turning out to be the best year so far. Very, very excited. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for joining me. We're going to be wrapping up the show here in about 20 minutes. So I've got a couple of more bits of news that I wanted to get into. But again, Roy, thanks for bringing all of this together. I'm just going to remind everyone one more time that book is available on Amazon. The proceeds are going to start a charity or some type of a trust fund to help out kids who are the next generation of truthers. And Mike, as always, thank you again for bringing me into this venture. I couldn't be more excited to get my copy of the book and then read everybody else's work.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate it helping me clean it up with some legitimate sounding words rather than my regular vocabulary. And thank you, Captain Roy and Dustin, for getting this venture going, because I'm really psyched to be part of it. And I did read through a few of the chapters. As much as I don't like to read, obviously I'm very much into this. But it's very well done. The people, all the authors did a really good job.
I appreciate it. Thank you for your comments. Check out that Good, Bad, and the Ugly. That was mine.
Excellent. Looking forward to it. Okay, thanks again, guys, and we'll talk to y'all later.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
Peace. All right. Mike had to throw it in. All right, so as always, guys, the link for Mike's channel, the link for Roy's Reddit, the link to buy the book is also in the description below. Or maybe it's not. Did I even put that in there? We're going to make sure that I put that in there so that if anybody did not get the link, they can go ahead and check it out. All right, guys, just a few more minutes of news, and then I want everybody to make sure you go over to Lady Liberty's channel after the news so that you can check out her video. Let's see. And thank you, everybody who said that they posted a copy of the book. That's awesome. And don't forget, leave a 5-star review. Leave a 5-star review because that helps us get past those Amazon censors. All right, so what do we have next? We had one article right here. We covered the Awans. We covered the Conservative Post. We were going to cover... Oh, this one's good, guys. This is a good news. Red Pill 78 for Congress. You guys, that would be pretty awesome. If I was in Congress, I would get some business done. So, someone in Congress thinks that it's a good idea to have random drug tests for members of Congress. Well, this Republican says it's time. Louisiana Republican Clay Higgins introduced a resolution this week that would subject all sitting members of the House and Senate to random drug testing. The measure lays out a proposal under which all members would face a random drug test once per term. Lady Q says, buy some soft treats for your sweet Chi-Chi. Oh, thank you so much. I will. I definitely will. You know, I had a couple other people I needed to thank you guys. Let's see. Who was it? Live, love, and get ready. Thank you very much. Zach, of course, always. Garrett and Cynthia. Thank you. Rhonda Martin. That's right. Jack Randall and Lady Q. Thank you, guys. So lawmakers would be told if a positive result is found, and those results would also go to the House and Senate Ethics Committee for review. Lawmakers who refuse to be tested would be named and shamed by the ethics committees. The resolution also says lawmakers themselves would have to reimburse Congress for the cost of the testing. Higgins is a veteran and a former military police officer in the Louisiana National Guard. He was also a civilian police officer and SWAT team operator. He has maintained his status as a deputy marshal in Lafayette even after being elected to the House in 2016. Vince Nunya says, great stuff all week, my friend. Thank you very much, you guys. I hope that you enjoyed my videos. I know Vince did. I hope that everybody enjoyed them. So here's a copy of the resolution itself. I'm sure it's pretty wordy, so we're not going to get into it, but we'll pull it up here. So what do you guys think? I think this is a great idea. I think that if you are a regular working stiff, you're going to get drug tested if you get a job, and most people are subject to random drug tests. So if you are a member of the House or Senate, I certainly think that you should be subjected to a random drug test. If you are going to hold people to a certain level of accountability in regular everyday life, then I think that you also should be subject to that as a lawmaker, as an elected official. Now, the other thing that we have to think about is, somebody had mentioned, multiple people had mentioned adrenochrome. Adrenochrome. I think that there definitely needs to be a test for adrenochrome. But here's the thing. I think that adrenochrome occurs naturally in the human body, so I don't know how they're going to test for that. But the link for this will be in the comment below, description below. This is a great article. The International Consortium of Investigative Journalists put out an article. This is also from my friend Jackie. World Bank's legal immunity has been stripped, and it opens the door for lawsuits. The Supreme Court of the United States has rejected World Bank claims of complete legal immunity, ruling that one of its arms can be sued in relation to lending activities. The 7-1 ruling could also open other American-based international organizations to the threat of lawsuits over financing overseas development. For the World Bank, it means that it now faces having to defend itself against a suit by members of a fishing community in Mundra, India, who contend their homes and livelihoods were damaged by pollution from a coal power plant that was financed by the bank's private sector lending arm, the Washington, D.C.-based International Finance Corporation. Bharat Patel, General Secretary of the Association for the Struggle of Fisher Workers' Rights, one of the plaintiffs, welcomed the historic ruling, saying, "This is a huge victory for the people of Mundra and a major step towards holding the World Bank accountable for the negative impacts their investments are causing." ICIJ covered the plight of the fishing community and the bank's refusal to recognize its claims as part of its 2015 Evicted and Abandoned investigation. The project found that about 3.4 million people were physically or economically displaced by World Bank-funded development projects between 2004 and 2013, and the bank often failed to follow its own rules for properly resettling these communities. The legal case surrounded a 1945 law which granted international organizations the same immunity from suit as foreign governments. Ugh. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to make it smaller so those social media icons aren't on there. The February 27th ruling reportedly does not affect either the United Nations or the International Monetary Fund, as they have complete immunity under their charters. Laura Thompson says, "So excited about the book." Great. I'm glad. I'm very, very excited for you, and I hope that you enjoy it. The World Bank argued that the exclusion of the immunity of commercial activities did not apply to it. If it could be sued for its development loans, the bank maintained, it would become a target for lawsuits around the world that would cripple its ability to perform its core mission of fighting poverty and promoting development. But if they're poisoning the land and they're poisoning the livelihood of the people that they are purporting to help, then how does that work? How does that work? Those concerns are inflated, the Supreme Court held in its ruling. Justice Stephen G. Breyer dissented. Newly appointed Justice Brett Kavanaugh did not participate. Breyer warned that the majority ruling would create uncertainty for international organizations involved in finance. Two lower courts had sided with the World Bank on the immunity question. Lawyers for Earthrights International, which represents the plaintiffs, say the World Bank must be accountable if its actions or its negligence harms local populations. The fishing community's case against the bank will now be allowed to proceed in lower courts in the U.S. Immunity from all legal accountability does not further the development goals of international organizations, said Marco Simon, the General Counsel for Earthrights. It simply leads them to be careless, which is what happened here. What do you guys think about that? I think the World Bank is a bad organization. I think that the idea that they should be immune from the things that they finance is insane. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at this article on Cohen. Nasara Gassara Now. I've seen a lot of stuff about this recently, guys, and I'm going to have to take a look into it. Let's see. So Trump pointing to book deal says Cohen perjured himself. President Trump accused Michael Cohen on Friday of perjuring himself before Congress while disparaging him repeatedly after revelations that his former personal attorney was pitching a book weeks before being raided by the FBI. The prospective book was allegedly supposed to be laudatory and not very critical of the president. So, Michael Cohen's book manuscript shows that he committed perjury on a scale not seen before. He must have forgotten about his book when he testified. What does Hillary Clinton's lawyer, Lanny Davis, say about this one? Is he being paid by Crooked Hillary, using her lawyer? Congress must demand the transcript of Michael Cohen's new book, given to publishers a short time ago. Your heads will spin when you see the lies, misrepresentations, and contradictions against his Thursday testimony. Like a different person, he is totally discredited. Cohen lambasted Trump during his testimony, saying he is a racist, he is a con man, he is a cheat. Cohen also charged without evidence that Trump knew Roger Stone, a longtime confidant of the president, was speaking with Julian Assange about WikiLeaks' release of Democratic emails during the 2016 presidential election. The former attorney also said that Trump had advanced knowledge and directed a hush money payment to porn star Stormy Daniels to stop her from going public with an affair allegation against the president weeks ahead of the 2016 presidential election. Cohen's blasting of Trump's character, however, is in stark contrast to a book pitch, which the Daily Mail revealed late Thursday evening. The book pitch was about understanding the Trump mindset and appeared highly laudatory of the president. Cohen's book proposal came in January 2018 and did not offer any criticism of Trump. He was reportedly offered nearly $750,000. Everything he wanted to say about Trump was positive, one publisher who was pitched on Cohen's book told the Mail, adding, even in our meeting, he was glowing with praise for the president. The proposal went nowhere after Cohen was raided by the FBI and later pled guilty to the U.S. Southern District of New York on multiple felony charges. Cohen may have another shot, as he left open the possibility of signing a book or movie deal while testifying before Congress. Can you commit under oath that you have not and will not pursue a book or movie deal based on your experience work for the president? North Carolina Republican Rep. Virginia Fox asked Cohen. No, replied Cohen. Fox pressed Cohen further, saying, can you commit under oath that you will not pursue upward opportunities to provide commentary for a major network with your experiences working for the president? And Cohen still appeared resistant to making such a promise. Vicky Mosley from New Zealand says, thank you for all your work and hello from New Zealand. Hello, Vicky. I'm so glad you're here from New Zealand. What time is it in New Zealand right now? I don't know if it's late or if it's early there. All right, guys, we've got one more article for you, and it's going to be from the Hill. This is from Methods. Talk about the power of memes. A poster linking Ilhan Omar to the 9/11 attack causes a fight to break out at the West Virginia State House. Oh, my God. So a poster on display at the West Virginia State House comparing Representative Ilhan Omar to the terror attacks on September prompted a heated argument between lawmakers on Friday that resulted in a physical injury and one lawmaker's resignation. The poster was reportedly put on display as part of Republicans Take the Rotunda event. It shows a photo of the towers in flames with the words, never forget, you said, followed by, I am the proof you have forgotten. Oh my God, this is amazing. So there's a picture of Omar. Oh God, we're going to find it here in a second. Democrats in the State House complained about the display and got into an explosive argument with the State House's Sergeant-at-Arms, Ann Lieberman, for allegedly making an anti-Muslim remark. According to Democrat Mike Angelucci, Lieberman said, all Muslims are terrorists. He called the comment hate speech and said he was furious over it. Lieberman denied making the comment to a local news outlet later, but she resigned Friday afternoon after the resignation. Republicans reportedly defended the display as free speech, with State Delegate Diana Graves saying freedom of speech is something we have to protect. A Democratic state lawmaker, Mike Caputo, also allegedly injured a doorkeeper during the heated argument over the poster, resulting in the staffer being taken to the hospital. The House Rules Committee is expected to meet Saturday to decide if Caputo will face repercussions. Omar, who is a Somali American and one of two Muslim women in Congress, later blasted Republicans over the anti-Muslim poster. No wonder why I am on the hit list of domestic terrorist and assassinate Ilhan Omar is written on my local gas station, she tweeted. Okay, so let's see here. I know that the poster is right here. It's got to be in this. Hang on. The poster used to be in the article, and they took it out. Ah, here it is.
Of a photo of Omar.
Oh, God.
Of Omar.
Never forget, you said. I am your proof.
Despite Trump's support.
All right, it's not going to work. All right, you guys, that is all we have for you tonight. I want to thank everyone for joining me. As always, I am RedPill78. Oh, let's see. Let's see. It looks like perhaps someone has sent me the actual poster. Where'd it go? But anyone, I want everyone to go and watch Erin's video when we're all done here. Hold on, I am going to put out the link to her YouTube. I'm going to drop it in the comments here, okay? So that everybody can follow this link when we're all done. So thank you everyone once again for joining me for Friday Night Livestream. Hopefully tomorrow there's a ton of good news so that we've got lots to talk about. I hope that everyone also is able to leave a 5-star review for the book. And I also want to thank everyone for supporting me and for being here on the channel. If you have not liked, shared, or subscribed this video, please make sure you do. There is going to be a replay of it going on afterwards, but I really want everyone to go watch Lady Liberty 17. Oh, no, that's her Patreon. Sorry, guys. That's her Patreon. Hold on. Here is her YouTube. Sorry for that. All right, I believe her video is starting at 11 o'clock sharp, so I'm going to go ahead and jump off with a couple of minutes left. As always, I am Red Pill 78, the corruption detector, and this was your Red Pill News Friday night live stream. Love you, everybody. Good luck, everyone, and God bless.